Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. Somewhere in a rank 1 cultivation country in Suzaku, a dirty old man, who was eating a drumstick suddenly coughed a few times and spat out the chicken meat in his mouth. His face was extremely gloomy as he stood up, but then, after pondering a bit, he sat down. His expression was extremely ugly as he muttered to himself, "Senior apprentice brother, you and I have battled throughout our entire lives. Are we going to continue to fight even when we are about to die? I lost the battle for the title of Suzaku back then so you could have it. But you shouldn't push it too far. Since Wang Lin was able to return from the celestial realm, he is chosen by me. If you ruin him, I'll ruin Qian Feng." He threw the chicken drumstick in his hand away, and his eyes glowed with anger. However, I wonder what the chances of that junior Wang Lin turning that little girl Liu Mai into his cultivation furnace are. Senior apprentice brother, let's see if your disciple is better, or if my chosen candidate is superior. That will also be very fun. Wang Lin was cultivating with his eyes closed while sitting on the mosquito beast. After a long time, he opened his eyes and sighed. My body's injuries are fine, but the injuries to my soul are a problem. Also, I have this feeling of danger here in Suzaku. This feeling is definitely accurate. Red Butterfly's injuries were similar to mine, but she had a breakthrough. If I can't reach the late stage of soul formation by the time she comes out of closed-door cultivation, I'm afraid I won't be able to defend against her. Wang Lin was in deep thought when his expression suddenly changed. The mosquito stopped flying and looked around in confusion. Big Dipper transfer. An ancient voice suddenly yelled, and then a giant formation appeared in the sky. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to put the mosquito away and teleport. However, he only teleported 1,000 feet away before he was knocked out of his teleportation by an invisible force. Shortly after, the formation in the sky moved and a powerful surge of spiritual energy poured out of it. Wang Lin was shocked and was sucked into the formation. In the blink of an eye, his body disappeared inside the formation. The formation slowly disappeared and an old man slowly walked out. He muttered, "Country of Shuiyu, you owe this old man a favor." This person was the one that was sitting next to Gong Sunpa. He was a foreign affairs elder. In a deserted area in the northern end of the Suzaku continent, a giant formation suddenly opened up and a person was thrown out. Wang Lin stopped his body mid-air. He looked around and his expression darkened. There was a middle-aged man before him as well as tables, chairs, and a tea set. The middle-aged man was sitting on the chair as he picked up the cup, took a sip, and said, "Junior Sengnyo, I'm Shuiyu's sect master, Li Yuanfeng. I'm here to take your life for Red Butterfly." Soul transformation. He was able to tell the middle-aged man's cultivation level at a glance. His expression darkened even more. Without any hesitation, he tried to rip open a spatial rift to escape with the star compass. Wang Lin knew that he couldn't resist a soul transformation cultivator. He could only try to escape. However, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly became cold. Normally, with Wang Lin's cultivation level, he could easily tear open space, but right now, he couldn't tear it open even when using all his power. This didn't have anything to do with his cultivation level dropping. After all, he was still at the early stage of soul formation, so he should have easily been able to open a spatial rift. The middle-aged man put down the teacup and shook his head. "Little guy, to prevent you from escaping, I set a formation to seal the space in this area. Your star compass might as well be a pile of trash here." Without a word, Wang Lin turned to teleport, but then his eyes suddenly became even colder. He couldn't teleport. The star compass was useless and teleportation was useless. This person had clearly done plenty of research to set up this trap that prevented Wang Lin from escaping. Wang Lin took one step and quickly backed away. The middle-aged man casually poured another cup, gently blew at the tea, took a sip, put down the cup, and stood up. He shook his head and said, "I normally don't act, but when I do, I don't let my guard down just because my target is at the soul formation stage. Sengnyo, you are definitely dying this time." He flew after Wang Lin. The middle-aged man flew at exactly the same speed as Wang Lin. He was going too slow to catch up on purpose, like a cat playing with a mouse. Wang Lin's expression darkened even more. He slapped his bag of holding and took out a piece of jade. He filled it with spiritual energy, causing a blue flame to quickly surround it, and then it disappeared. "Sun Tai, come quickly." Wang Lin sighed. Not long after, he quickly stopped. Before him stood 3 people. The 3 of them were all wearing black robes and their faces were covered. The person in the middle took a step forward and then an oppressive aura appeared. Another soul transformation cultivator. Wang Lin's heart felt very bitter. At this moment, the middle-aged man arrived. He stopped 100 feet away from Wang Lin and said, "There is no need to run, Seng Niu. Today is the day you die." With that, he raised his right hand and pointed at Wang Lin. A whirlwind suddenly appeared and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin quickly backed up. He took out the celestial sword and slashed at the whirlwind. The sword energy shattered the whirlwind and charged toward the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man revealed a mocking smile. He caught the sword energy with his hand and crushed it. "What's this?" The middle-aged man was a bit surprised. His right hand felt a bit numb. Wang Lin sighed again. After his cultivation level dropped, his spiritual energy was a mess. His origin soul had also taken damage, so he couldn't even show the same power he had when fighting Red Butterfly. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and turned around to escape again. Just at this moment, the soul transformation cultivator wearing black robes let out snort. He caught up to Wang Lin like lightning and gently hit Wang Lin's back with his palm. Wang Lin let out a painful groan. He only had time to focus all of the remaining spiritual energy in his body on his back and use the celestial sword to block. However, his body was still hit by a powerful force and was knocked into the ground 1,000 feet away. He coughed out a huge mouthful of blood along with some small pieces of his internal organs. Wang Lin's face was almost like a dead person's. There were now more injuries on top of his previous ones. The black-robed person reached out and took Wang Lin's celestial sword. He said, "This is a good sword. There is even a sword spirit inside." "Not bad." The middle-aged man faintly smiled and said, "This sword belongs to you, but that little flag that can attract divine retribution belongs to me." The black-robed old man laughed and said, "Okay. The star compass originally belonged to my clan, so I'm going to take it back." The middle-aged man nodded and said, "Of course." Wang Lin struggled to get up. His legs were trembling slightly. This was due to his injuries. With a sullen expression, he looked at the black-robed old man and said, "Giant Demon Clan." The black-robed old man took off his mask, revealing a grey-haired elder, but his eyes were like the moonlight. He looked at Wang Lin and laughed. "Junior Seng Niu, this old man is indeed from the Giant Demon Clan. Back in the Celestial Realm, you stole the star compass from our young master, so I'm here to take it back today. I hope you won't mind." Wang Lin's gaze was dark. His right hand trembled as he took out pills from his bag and ate them before the 2 soul transformation cultivators. Then he calmly said, "2 soul transformation old monsters came out at once to kill me. This honor, I'll remember it." The middle-aged man faintly smiled and said, "That is correct. Even though you are going to die, you should die with a smile. As for your treasures, I'm very interested in them." With that, he pointed at Wang Lin again. This time, a surge of spiritual energy shot out from the middle-aged man's finger toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin had managed to recover a bit of spiritual energy, so he took out the restriction flag and shook it. Restriction gas came out and formed walls of restriction to block that surge of spiritual energy. Many layers of the restriction gas were shattered, but it managed to stop the spiritual energy that was heading toward Wang Lin. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up as looked toward the restriction flag in Wang Lin's hand and smiled. "What a good little flag. I have to study it carefully." From his point of view, Seng Niu would die for sure. It was impossible for 2 soul transformation cultivators to be unable to kill a mere soul formation cultivator. Wang Lin's face became even more pale and a hint of despair appeared in his heart. His original body definitely couldn't come. Ignoring the fact that it was too far away, his original body still couldn't come here, or he would die for real. He had to stall for time until Sun Tai arrived. This was the only way. However, all of his spiritual energy was used up when he used the restriction flag. There was no more spiritual energy left in his body. The middle-aged man was about to point his finger again, when one of the people in black beside the old man went forth and respectfully said, "Ancestor, let Junior kill this person to avenge myself." The middle-aged man lowered his hand and looked toward the ancestor of the Giant Demon Clan. The ancestor looked at the black-cloaked person and nodded. The black-cloaked person turned around and took off his mask. It was Kai-Hu. Kai-Hu's eyes were calm as he flew toward Wang Lin. Kai-Hu. As Wang Lin held the restriction flag in his hand, his eyes revealed a complicated feeling. Seng Nyo, accept your death. Kai-Hu shouted, but his eyes revealed a mysterious light. His palm shot out a wave of spiritual energy. When Wang Lin saw Kai-Hu's gaze, his heart skipped a beat. That wave of spiritual energy that was flying toward Wang Lin had no attack power. It was absorbed by Wang Lin's body. Soon, spiritual energy began to fill Wang Lin's body. Kai-Hu quickly arrived before Wang Lin and kicked him, causing him to fly very far. This kick not only didn't harm Wang Lin, it even sent another wave of spiritual energy into him. Brother Seng, escape to the southeast. Kai-Hu's anxious voice entered Wang Lin's ears. The middle-aged man was able to see through it instantly and snorted. The ancestor of the giant demon clan charged out and shouted, Kai-Hu, what are you doing? Kai-Hu moved to block his ancestor. His eyes were clear as he shouted, Ancestor, that star compass is something I gifted to Seng Nyo, not something he stole. I, Kai-Hu, am a man. Seng Nyo saved me multiple times in the celestial realm, and he is my friend. How could I abandon him just like that? The ancestor of the giant demon clan let out an angry laugh. He was about to go around Kai-Hu. However, Kai-Hu roared and the axe image on his forehead flashed. He took a step toward his ancestor and shouted, that star compass is useless to us. So what if I give it to someone else? You already took his flying sword. Is that not enough? The ancestor suddenly turned around and stared at Kai-Hu. He reached out with his hand and Kai-Hu immediately felt himself completely locked in place by a powerful force. If you weren't the junior with the most pure giant demon blood, I would kill you today, you ungrateful brat. Once we return to the clan, you will be punished with 100 years of closed-door cultivation, and suffer the pain of having your body refined. With that, he chased after the escaping Wang Lin. Kai-Hu clenched his fists as he looked toward where Wang Lin had escaped to. Brother Seng, I tried my best. Kai-Hu felt melancholy. He didn't think that Wang Lin was going to survive. The reason he was willing to offend the ancestor was to not disappoint himself. I, Kai-Hu, am an honorable man. Seng Nyo considers me a friend, so I can't do something so heartless. Wang Lin had recovered some spiritual energy with Kai-Hu's help and was using it to escape. As he flew, Wang Lin pointed at this brow and sighed. He didn't know what formation the enemies had laid down. He only knew that he couldn't tear open space nor teleport, and he even felt something blocking him from entering the heaven-defying bead. At least right now he wouldn't be able to enter it without some time. This formation was very mysterious. It was not only Wang Lin who couldn't teleport, the giant demon clan ancestor, who placed the formation, couldn't teleport either. The celestial sword was stolen. If I live today, I must take it back. A hint of hatred appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. However, just at this moment, the middle-aged man caught up to Wang Lin and coldly said, you won't be able to escape. I'll send you to your death. He lifted his right hand and pressed down with his right thumb. A powerful force surged out from the thumb, but just before the force hit Wang Lin, a powerful domain also surged toward him. This domain had a fragrance, the fragrance of tea. To put all of one's effort into appreciating tea, to experience life, and have the tea accompany one for life. Wang Lin's life and death domain immediately appeared, but when put up against the domain of a soul transformation cultivator, he couldn't compete. He coughed out more blood and his origin soul was damaged again. Wang Lin's body fell from the sky. Marks that looked like tea leaves appeared on Wang Lin's face. Every time they shined, Wang Lin's body would weaken. His origin soul was slowly dissipating. At this moment, the ancestor of the giant demon clan caught up and lowered his head to look at Wang Lin. We have already wasted a lot of time. After you kill this person, I still have other things to do. Fellow cultivator Li, go ahead. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he smiled. You're not willing to act, because you're afraid of Mount Suzaku. Fine, since this is my plan, I'll do it. With that, he pointed at Wang Lin. He was about to end Wang Lin's life. However, just at this moment, a thunderous clap came from the sky and a giant rift in space was torn open. A black and purple coffin descended from the sky. A cold snort came from the coffin. The heaven and death demon sealing formation. If I didn't already know this formation, it would have been really hard for me to enter. A red-robed old man stared at the three below him with glowing eyes. After seeing the giant demon clan ancestor and the middle-aged man, his face darkened and he cursed. Seng Nyo, do you have nothing better to do instead of getting yourself into trouble? I have to say, aren't you two old farts embarrassed to have to team up to kill a Soul Formation Junior? Corpse sect. The middle-aged man withdrew his finger. His eyes sparkled as he stared at the old man. The red-robed old man was the corpse sect's head elder, Sun Tai. Sun Tai's expression was sullen as he looked at the middle-aged man before him. He then moved his gaze to the giant demon clan ancestor. He secretly cursed. Although the giant demon clan ancestor was only at the early stage of soul transformation, he knew that members of the giant demon clan gained access to their bloodline's power when they reached the soul transformation stage. Even though he was at the mid-stage of soul transformation, that power was something he wouldn't easily mess with. Sun Tai said, I'm going to take this person away. Fellow cultivator, the middle-aged man from Shuiyu was about to speak. Sun Tai looked at the middle-aged man and shouted, shut your damn mouth and scram. A mere early-stage soul transformation cultivator, and one that reached it by force, doesn't have the qualifications to talk to me. The middle-aged man's face changed from blue to red. Ever since he had reached the soul transformation stage, he was treated like a sovereign in Shuiyu. Even when meeting other soul transformation cultivators, none of them dared to talk to him like this. Sun Tai snorted and turned his gaze toward the giant demon clan ancestor. The giant demon clan ancestor's expression was sullen as he stared at Sun Tai. After pondering a bit, he shook his head and said, no, this person must die and his corpse must belong to me. The middle-aged man from Shuiyu was surprised. He turned his head to look at the giant demon clan ancestor. This was the first time that he said he wanted the corpse. Sun Tai snorted and shouted, you're not a member of my corpse sect. What use do you have for the corpse? The giant demon clan ancestor stared at Sun Tai and decisively said, I have my own use. He indeed did have use for the corpse. Even if the Shuiyu man hadn't come to ask him, he would still have secretly acted to kill Wang Lin. He knew that Seng Nyo's real name was Wang Lin. Taking back the star compass was just an excuse to kill Wang Lin. The real reason was the news that was brought back by a clan member who went to open a foreign battleground 500 years ago. The heaven-defying bead is a treasure even the Cultivation Alliance wants. If my giant demon clan gets it and gives it to the Cultivation Alliance, we will definitely be granted rank 6 status. Then we can leave Suzaku and get our own giant demon clan planet. Then my clan will have the ability to have ascendant-level cultivators. The heaven-defying bead was obtained by this Wang Lin. All of these thoughts quickly flew through his head. He made up his mind that Wang Lin wouldn't be stolen by anyone else today. That year, the clan member that reported the news was immediately killed by him and had his soul carefully searched. After determining that the clan member didn't tell anyone else, and that the number of people that knew was very small, he decided to not kill everyone off and to secretly look for Wang Lin. However, although the ancestor had a lot of power, Wang Lin seemed to have evaporated, and Suzaku was simply too big. Based on information from the clan member, Wang Lin had disappeared inside a spatial rift inside the foreign battleground. Thus, he personally went to the foreign battleground and searched inside the spatial rift for 100 years, but still found nothing. He gradually put it in the back of his mind and felt regret. He believed that Wang Lin had died without any remains and the heaven-defying bead was once again lost. However, all of this changed when Seng Nyo appeared. He found what Kai Hu said to be strange. After using his status as the ancestor to force Kai Hu finally told him the truth. The ancestor immediately became suspicious. After doing some investigation, he found that Seng Nyo was Wang Lin. As a result, he immediately became happy, but due to Suzaku's interference, he couldn't act or else everything would be nothing but a dream. However, he did kill the one other person that knew of this matter. It was a messenger from a rank 4 cultivation country. When the giant demon clan ancestor searched the messenger's soul, he found that the messenger wasn't sure of the news and hadn't reported it. After confirming this, he relaxed and decided to wait for the right moment to kill Wang Lin. One day, Shuiyu's Li Yuan came to ask him to set up a formation to help kill Wang Lin. He came up with the excuse of retrieving the star compass so that he could get close to Wang Lin. As a result, even if Suzaku were to look into this matter, Shuiyu would take the blow, and he would be able to secretly take the heaven-defying bead. Even if Wang Lin were to die, he could use a secret technique to find the whereabouts of the heaven-defying bead. Sun Tai's eyes darkened. He snorted and flew toward Wang Lin. The middle-aged man quickly flew up. He took out a bronze watch and was about to block Sun Tai. But Sun Tai shouted, "Scram," and a force surged out from Sun Tai's body, causing the middle-aged man to pause for a moment. "You dare!" The giant demon clan ancestor threw out a punch. A black vortex suddenly appeared and closed in on Sun Tai. Sun Tai's right hand pointed at the coffin behind him. The lid of the coffin moved a bit and a mummified body flew out to fight the giant demon clan ancestor. He took this opportunity to reach out and grab Wang Lin. Wang Lin was very weak at the moment, his eyes were closed and his face was deathly pale. Without a word, Sun Tai turned around and flew into the rift. The middle-aged man's expression was unsettled. He hesitated for a bit and didn't act. How could the giant demon clan ancestor watch this fat sheep be stolen right out of his hands? He let out a roar as his body crackled and his body suddenly became 100 feet tall. Then a giant axe appeared in his hand. After chasing Sun Tai into the rift, he swung the axe down, causing a thunderous roar to echo in the void. A giant wave of axe energy shot out, causing Sun Tai's expression to darken. He already knew that the giant demon clan was difficult to deal with. His right hand formed a seal, and he shot it at the axe energy. Boom! After a loud boom, Sun Tai charged out of the rift. The giant demon clan ancestor let out a roar. With a few steps, he walked out of the rift and chased after Sun Tai. In the northern part of the Suzaku continent, one could see 2 rays of light flying across the sky. While Sun Tai ran, his face was gloomy and he cursed. "You really think I'm scared of you?" His right hand drew a seal and he pressed it on Wang Lin's forehead. Then he threw Wang Lin's body into the dense forest below. The moment Wang Lin landed, he struggled to open his eyes and then sat down in the lotus position. He began to cultivate to counter the middle-aged man's domain and Sun Tai's seal. He was awake now and knew that Sun Tai didn't have any good intentions. To Sun Tai, coming to save Wang Lin was better than dying. The giant demon clan ancestor chased after them. With a wave of his giant axe, he sent out a wave of axe energy. With a bang, the space before Sun Tai exploded, creating countless small rifts. Sun Tai cursed. He pointed to the air and 3 rays of green light flew out. The 3 rays of light turned into 3 corpses that charged toward the giant demon clan ancestor. Sun Tai shouted, "Explode for me." Bang! 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 Heaven-splitting explosions occurred in the sky. The powerful force from the explosions pushed the giant demon clan ancestor back several dozen feet. Sun Tai's expression was furious as he charged forward. At the same time, his right hand turned into a giant palm that pressed down upon the giant demon clan ancestor. The ancestor was very gloomy. He was only at the early stage of soul transformation. If it wasn't for the fact that he had a powerful body and his bloodline's power, he wouldn't dare to steal from a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. However, Wang Lin was too important to his giant demon clan, so he could only fight. The giant palm contained power far beyond spiritual energy. Soul transformation cultivators didn't use spiritual energy from the heavens and earth, they needed celestial spiritual energy to increase their cultivation level. Therefore, their attacks would naturally contain some celestial spiritual energy hidden within. Before, when the middle-aged man and the ancestor attacked Wang Lin, they didn't use any celestial spiritual energy. After all, celestial spiritual energy couldn't be recovered unless they had celestial jade, so they wouldn't carelessly use it. Celestial jades were very difficult to get hold of. This was the reason why there weren't many soul transformation cultivators, and why there were so few life and death battles between the ones that were around. Generally speaking, soul transformation cultivators don't casually use celestial spiritual energy, but when they do, their power is terrifying. Using celestial spiritual energy was something unique to cultivators at the soul transformation stage and above. It was the same with domains for soul transformation cultivators and above. This was a change in quality of one's power. Although, this palm from Sun Tai was just a simple palm without any powerful techniques behind it. If it was a normal attack, it wouldn't be much, but because it contained a bit of celestial spiritual energy, its power was immense. Even if it were just a simple fireball technique, if it contained a bit of spiritual energy, it would be a dangerous move. The celestial spiritual energy caused the giant demon clan ancestor to be shocked. His eyes lit up and a bit of celestial spiritual energy entered his right hand. He swung down his axe to meet the palm. Boom. After a loud explosion, the ground shattered and rainbow-colored light filled the sky as a shock wave spread out. Half of a huge nearby mountain collapsed into dust. This shockwave came quickly and disappeared just as quick, so it didn't spread too far. After all, neither of them used much celestial spiritual energy. The giant demon clan ancestor's body trembled as blood came seeping out from the corner of his mouth. He was furious, but he didn't charge at Sun Tai. Instead, he charged toward the forest that was collapsing. I am a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. I don't believe I can't kill you. Once I kill you, I'm sure I can get a good price for the corpse of a giant demon clan member. Sun Tai snorted as he charged forward and raised his hand in the air. He shouted, "Thunder!" With a bang, a ray of black lightning appeared in the sky and descended. Sun Tai shouted, "My thunder domain was obtained after I paid a heavy price to cultivate at the heavenly thunder planet for 100 years. You're merely a branch member of the giant demon clan. Die for me." The giant demon clan ancestor's expression darkened when he saw the black lightning. He let out a roar, causing his body to grow 30 feet taller, and punched the descending lightning. Boom. Another loud boom. The lightning traveled through the ancestor's body, causing his face to become pale. More blood seeped out the corners of his mouth as he stared at Sun Tai. At this moment, the middle-aged man from Shuiyu quietly teleported next to where Wang Lin was cultivating. He let out a cruel smile as he raised his hand to kill Wang Lin. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and revealed a vicious gaze. He had just tried to recover earlier, but found that this person's T-domain and the seal from Sun Tai together had formed a powerful seal. As a result, he couldn't recover any spiritual energy at all. Even when he took pills, the moment the pills dissolved, the spiritual energy would be absorbed by the seals. The amount of spiritual energy he currently had was less than what a foundation establishment cultivator had. It was only at about the level of a third-layer chi condensation cultivator, and it was constantly draining. Once all of the spiritual energy was drained from his body, he would be like a mortal and could be killed easily by a mortal martial artist. His origin soul was extremely weak and could collapse at any time, so he couldn't even leave his body. This was the most serious injury he had ever suffered in his life besides the one time he lost his body. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he pressed down with his right hand. But just he did so, a ray of black lightning suddenly descended from the sky. The middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed as he quickly used all of his power to escape. However, the lightning seemed to have grown eyes and chased after him. In the blink of an eye, the lightning and the middle-aged man disappeared over the horizon. HMPH, you dare to try sneak by me? Sun Tai sneered and formed a seal with his hands. He decided to scare away the giant demon clan ancestor before settling down to deal with Wang Lin. He had already decided that he would completely seal Wang Lin this time to prevent his origin soul from being destroyed. The giant demon clan ancestor's eyes revealed a mysterious light. He looked at Sun Tai and said, "I'll take this person away and return him in 7 days." Sun Tai said, without any hesitation, "Not possible. How could he let this person take Wang Lin away? It would be like putting his origin soul in the hands of someone else." The giant demon clan ancestor pondered a bit and then said, "It was you who forced me. This is the first time I have used my bloodline's power since reaching the soul transformation stage. Take my attack." After he finished speaking, he took a deep breath and the veins on his head popped out like he was enduring massive amounts of pain. Soon, a giant vortex appeared behind him. Black light was being emitted by the vortex as it slowly spun. A mysterious force was spreading out from it. Sun Tai's expression changed. Just at this moment, the giant demon clan ancestor shouted, "Turn." The vortex behind him suddenly began to spin rapidly, and a powerful suction force appeared. However, this suction force had no effect on the surroundings, it only affected Sun Tai. Sun Tai immediately felt the powerful suction force from the vortex and felt himself being pulled. He clenched his teeth and used the celestial spiritual energy in his body without any reservation. He pointed to the air and a red coffin suddenly appeared. Sun Tai's palm hit the coffin, causing it to shatter. The body of a boy floated out of the coffin. "Turn." The giant demon clan ancestor shouted again. The veins on his body bulged out even more. The bloodline ability was very stressful to his body, and because his cultivation level wasn't high enough, he could only last a few breaths. The vortex began to spin like crazy, and Sun Tai was dragged into it. He revealed a reluctant look and shouted, "Demon child, kill him." The boy suddenly opened its eyes, revealing a demonic light. It took one step and arrived before the giant demon clan elder. Its speed was several times faster than teleporting. The giant demon clan ancestor saw the boy land a hit on his chest. He suddenly felt a destructive force hit his body. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood as his origin soul quickly escaped his body along with his bag of holding. The boy then kicked a hole through the giant demon clan ancestor's body. However, Sun Tai had already been pulled into the vortex. He let out a scream of frustration and slowly disappeared. The giant demon clan's bloodline's power had no ability to attack due to the low cultivation level of the giant demon clan ancestor. However, it could teleport someone far away from Suzaku and into the distant stars. As the vortex disappeared, Sun Tai also disappeared. The boy was the only thing left floating in the air. After a pause, he chased after the giant demon clan's ancestor. The giant demon clan's ancestor didn't have time to grab Wang Lin. After letting out a frustrated roar, he quickly escaped. The boy quickly chased after him and the two of them disappeared over the horizon. Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief as he struggled to stand up and walk out of the forest. With every step he took, he could feel this body getting weaker and the amount of spiritual energy in his body lessening. Li Yuanfeng's domain and Sun Tai's seal had fused almost perfectly, sealing his power. The image of the tea leaf became more and more solid until it turned into a scar on Wang Lin's forehead. This scar formed a strange shape, the shape of Sun Tai's seal. Wang Lin bitterly smiled and struggled to walk for a long time. He felt like there was a mountain on top of him, and every step was a struggle. By the time he made it out of the forest, all of the spiritual energy in his body had been used up. Not a sliver of it remained. His physical injuries were extremely bad. He felt waves of pain coming from his internal organs, and his origin soul was so weak that it was about to collapse. Once he walked out of the forest, he felt the sunlight on his body. His body suddenly felt really weak, and he blacked out before even falling to the ground. After Wang Lin and Red Butterfly's fight, the name Seng Nyo gained even more prestige, and the treasures he used were seen by all of the messengers of the various cultivation countries. After these messengers returned to their respective countries, the news spread out. Whether it was the restriction flag, the celestial sword, or the god-slaying war chariot, these items suddenly became the most talked about things among cultivators. The person named Seng Nyo had been titled the number one person under the soul transformation stage on Suzaku. At the same time, Mount Suzaku sent out a message that Red Butterfly was going into closed-door cultivation to attempt to break through to the soul transformation stage. No one questioned this. After all, if Red Butterfly had a breakthrough during her fight, then going into closed-door cultivation was natural. However, as time slowly passed, people found out that Seng Nyo had gone missing. No one knew where he had gone. They only knew that Seng Nyo had disappeared without a trace when going to Mount Suzaku to get his order. This matter caused a big storm. The old man, who held the title of Suzaku, came out of his closed-door cultivation and looked to the north. 3 days ago, there were shock waves containing celestial spiritual energy coming from there. That meant that 2 soul transformation cultivators were using celestial spiritual energy to fight. In addition to that, he also felt the giant demon clan's bloodline power. Although the Suzaku's cultivation was powerful, he wasn't a god that could know things in advance. Suzaku was huge and complex, so, after some extensive searching, he found out that this matter with Seng Nyo was started by Shuiyu and that the giant demon clan participated. However, he couldn't find the identity of the other soul transformation cultivator. In addition, when he spread out his divine sense, he could only vaguely feel where Wang Lin was. He couldn't pinpoint his exact location, which was surprising to him. He judged that Wang Lin's origin soul must have collapsed due to serious injuries. This was why he couldn't pinpoint where Wang Lin was. However, in his eyes, Wang Lin was only one of Liu Mai's cultivation furnaces. He was important, but not that important. Liu Mai, go to the northern end of the Suzaku continent. Wang Lin is there. After leaving a message for Liu Mai, the old man went back into closed-door cultivation. Shuiyu's actions went against his will. They will definitely be in danger in the future. Liu Mai's figure floated down from Mount Suzaku and turned into a ray of light that flew toward the northern end of the Suzaku continent. Right now, on one of the cliffs of Mount Suzaku, stood a woman wearing a red veil. Her eyes were empty and there were no signs of life within her. There was a bright red flower near her feet. As the wind blew, the flower trembled as if would be blown away, but it still struggled to grow. Qian Feng's figure appeared behind the red-veiled woman. He flicked his finger and the flower at the woman's feet turned to dust. Heartless, I know that you have a tiny bit of your origin soul hidden somewhere, but with me in control, there won't be a second Zixin. Qian Feng's right hand touched the red-veiled woman's face, and he let out an evil smile. 1 month later. In a village in the northern part of the Suzaku continent, a young man was sitting on a rock at the entrance of the village. His face was filled with very shocking scars, making him look very ugly, and his eyes were dim. He was looking into the distance. His eyes weren't focused at all, they only contained sadness and confusion. As villagers passed by the village entrance, they all looked at him with disgust before going around him. The young man's expression didn't change at all as people passed by, he just stared into the distance. Shortly after, a young girl, who was wearing flower pattern top and pants came by. Behind her was a dog the size of a calf. This girl looked to be about 14 or 15 years old, her face was white, and her eyes were big. The girl stopped 30 feet from the young man and shouted, "Ugly mute, my dad told me to call you back for dinner." The young man turned around, looked at the young girl, and stood up. His legs were a bit numb, maybe because he had been sitting there for too long, so he almost fell over as he tried to stand up, causing the girl to laugh. "Mute, hurry up. I'm hungry." The young girl turned around and walked back into the village. The dog ran before her as if it was opening a path. The young man slowly followed the girl. As he looked at the village, the sadness in his eyes deepened. In a house near the entrance of the village sat a middle-aged man. His blue shirt had been washed so many times that it was turning white. There were herbs laid out on the ground. When the wind blew, the fragrance of the herbs spread. The young girl bounced into the room, sat down next to the man, and said, "Dad, I called the mute back." The man frowned. He looked at the girl and shouted, "Behave yourself. Call him uncle." The girl stuck out her tongue, and didn't say anything. Instead, she ran into the house and helped her mom set the table. The man stood up and looked at young man. He said, "Little brother, don't mind her, Yi has always been like this. Come, let me see how much you have recovered." The young man nodded and sat down next to the man. He stretched out his arm, which was very thin. It looked like it was just bones wrapped in skin. The man pressed his hand on the arm. After a while, he let out a smile and said, "Little brother, you are recovering very well. Let me give you some more medicine, and then you will just need to nourish your body, and you will be fine." The young man pondered and then nodded. The middle-aged man saw the young man like this and signed. He met this person 1 month ago, when he went to the forest to gather wood. This young man was at the brink of death when he found him. He was a doctor and a parent, so he decided to take the young man in and heal him. This person's injuries were very heavy. Even his internal organs were out of place and damaged. The middle-aged man had no confidence in healing the young man at all, he had left it up to fate. However, the young man's body was very strange. After 10 days, his body was getting better and the young man woke up. However, after the person awakened, the middle-aged man found out that the boy couldn't speak, he was a mute. At this moment, a woman walked out of the house and the girl followed behind her. The two of them carried some dishes out and placed them on the table. The girl pouted and said, "Mom, I'm not going to eat with the mute. He is so ugly that I can't eat with him here." "You?" The middle-aged man stared at the girl. The woman quickly stood before the young girl and placed some of the dishes into her bowl. "Yi, go eat inside the house." The girl pouted. She was about to speak when the young man picked up his bowl with trembling hands. He stood up, walked out of the yard, sat down on a rock, and stared at the rice in his bowl as he pondered. No one in the cultivation world knew where he was. He was Wang Lin. Someone who once flourished was now in such a state. This was all caused by Shui Yu and the giant demon clan. Wang Lin's right hand trembled while he placed the bowl down on the rock. He let out a bitter smile. 1 month ago, his origin soul collapsed. It collapsed, but hadn't completely disappeared, it remained in his body as shattered pieces. However, as time passed, the shattered pieces were slowly dissipating. His body was also heavily damaged, but due to some strange luck, the spiritual energy that released when his origin soul collapsed was able to somewhat repair his body. This was why he was able to get better. However, the current him had lost all spiritual energy, and had become a mortal that even had trouble holding a bowl. Right now, even a mortal could knock him to the ground with one punch. What he didn't expect was that the collapse of his origin soul would even affect his original body back in Chu. It had fallen into a deep sleep, and hadn't been able to wake up. This was very bad news for Wang Lin. If his original body hadn't fallen asleep, he could have his original body come to pick him up. Then he would just need to find a place filled with spiritual energy to cultivate. But now all of that went up in smoke. He wasn't mute, he was just unwilling to speak. The marks caused by the T-domain caused his face to be extremely ugly, so people were fed up with him. Aside from this couple in the village, no one else ever said anything kind to him. Without any spiritual power, he wasn't able to open his bag of holding. The current him had completely become immortal. Wang Lin let out a sigh and then ate all of the rice in his bowl. In 9 years, I will have to face the heavens reincarnation cycle again. 9 years, Wang Lin swallowed the last bit of rice and revealed a determined gaze. Throughout this month, he was trying to come up with a way to recover his cultivation. As long as the domain and seal were broken, he would naturally regain his cultivation. However, he was at a loss when it came to breaking them. Late at night, Wang Lin lied down in the woodshed in the yard and slowly fell asleep. His body was very weak right now, it didn't even have an ounce of strength. Early in the morning of the next day, the middle-aged man put a basket on his back and went into the mountains with a few hunters to gather herbs. Wang Lin opened his eyes, sat down in the lotus position, and silently cultivated inside the wooden shed. After a while, he let out a sigh. There wasn't any spiritual energy in his body, so it was impossible to cultivate. Only by being in a place with dense spiritual energy could he do some forced cultivation to cause spiritual energy to appear in his body. He bitterly shook his head and walked out of the shed. His body was still weak. Just at this moment, the young girl walked out of the house. After seeing Wang Lin, she pouted and said, "Ugly newt, you have already stayed here for a month. When are you leaving? My house is not a charity house. How could we have that much extra food for you to eat?" The woman walked out of the house and scolded her. "Yi, how many times has your dad told you to call him uncle?" The girl let out a dissatisfied snort and said, "Xiao Cai, follow me." With that, she walked toward the gate. The dog suddenly charged out from the corner of the yard and followed the young girl while wagging its tail. The woman's gaze swept past Wang Lin as she apologetically said, "That child doesn't know any better, so don't mind her. Her dad is going to the mountains to gather herbs. He said your body is very weak, so feel free to stay as long as you want. You can leave once you feel better." In the blink of an eye, half a month passed by. In this half a month, with the help of the middle-aged man's medicine, Wang Lin's body slowly regained a bit of strength. On one late night, Wang Lin walked out of the shed. He looked at the house that the middle-aged man lived in and memorized it before walking out of the yard. He was going to leave. This video will end here.